points, but most of the points that they had actually are based on the fact that people are going to use this train. And from what I have here, it basically says that people just aren't going to use it. From a quote from Philip Klein, again a writer for the American Spectator, he says, "We found that the model that the rail authority relied upon to create average ridership projections was flawed at key decision-making junctures," said the project's main researcher, Sam Madamet. This is the person who sent out an individual paper, actually, that's on the high-speed rail and why it's not feasible. And then also he says, "This means that the forecast of ridership is unlikely to be very close to a ridership that would actually materialize if the system were built. As such, it is not possible to predict whether the proposed high-speed rail will experience healthy profits or severe revenue shortfalls." Another quote I have from Philip Klein says, "Under the terms of the ballot measure, the high-speed rail system, once built, cannot have its operating costs subsidized by taxpayers, an unusual arrangement for public transportation projects. Measuring demand is obviously the key ingredient to making business projections, but predictions for ridership have been wildly at odds. In 2007, the authority commissioned a study that estimated that the high-speed rail system could attract more than 100 million passengers by 2030. 2 years later, the system had dropped dramatically to 39 million. And according to Berkeley's Institute of Transportation Studies, that still isn't a reliable figure. And so, basically, they said that it will be financially hurt in the long run. If we build this, we're just going to be more financially hurt in the long run. It's basically not going to provide what they're saying. It's an alternative to other ways of transportation. I just sent you guys, it's not. And then canceling the project would lose jobs. I think building the project would lose jobs because we wouldn't be able to fund, it wouldn't be self-sufficient as it's supposed to be. And then it is true that the investments in infrastructure would create jobs, but I don't think this is a sufficient reason to go and invest in high-speed rail that nobody's going to use. Also, Chadwick said that studies show areas like Bakersfield will become cheaper, so you can buy a house there and then commute. The estimated price, as of right now, is that it would cost originally it was supposed to cost $55 to go from Los Angeles to San Francisco, but the price already nearly doubled to $105. If you're commuting daily, $105 per day is really worth it to buy a house in Bakersfield and commute back and forth. That's just a one-way commute. And then also, going on to what Eric talked about, he had one thing about people want to fight the system and that they're willing to negotiate a fair price for the right-of-way. Actually, what worries farmers the most, and this is another quote from Philip Klein, he says, "What worries farmers is that the proposed route would divide their land at a diagonal, disrupting their expensive irrigation systems. Given that the railroad would need at least 100 feet of right-of-way, farmers don't know how they'll transmit water to their land and would now be on the other side of the tracks. Even if they can figure out how they're going to get the water there, given that the high-speed trains will be whizzing by at 220 miles per hour, there won't be the normal number of railroad crossings. Farmers fear that they'll have to drive 6 to 8 miles just to get back and forth on their own property. So they just have to drive around to get to the other side of their property, which is a really big problem. And then also they don't even know where they're going to get the water for. That's all.
How much prep time? You got 2.5 minutes.